100,000 Ukrainian refugees will be coming to America under a new plan by the White House that was unveiled today. So far, nearly 4 million refugees have fled the chaos in Ukraine, making their way to other parts of Europe, and many have even fled to Russia. Anything to get away from the rain of rockets and bullets. This as President Joe Biden and European leaders marked 1 month since the start of Russia's invasion with crucial summits in Brussels, Belgium. Biden's last-minute visit to Europe is supposed to demonstrate American strength. But I got to tell you, folks, watching him go down those stairs, those steps from Air Force One last night filled me with concern, dread. He looked like he might take a header in any minute, and he's done that before. What do you think Putin thought when he saw that video? Think he was like, oh, he's got scared? Do you think he immediately called his generals and said, hey, guys, that's it. The jig is up, boys. Let's get out of Ukraine pronto. Look, I know in times like these, Americans are supposed to rally around the flag and support our leaders, but I can't help but point out the obvious. The last president I felt confidence in when dealing with Russians was Ronald Reagan. Remember? Because of Reagan, the Berlin Wall fell, that the Soviet Union crumbled. I fear we may be watching the birth of a new Soviet Union, and I can only hope and pray that that doesn't happen. Take a look at a real leader now. Zelenskyy. He addressed the world's leaders at the NATO summit today and said Ukraine needs unlimited military assistance. He asked NATO to give him, quote, just 1% of all your planes, 1% of all your tanks. He went on to say, when we will have this, it will give us, just like you, 100% security, considering he is fighting the world's second largest army to a standstill. I'd say this is a good investment. And NATO tightened the screws on Putin, announcing plans to restrict the Russian central bank's use of gold in transactions. And the U.S. announced another round of sanctions targeting more than 400 elites and members of the Russian parliament. But that's not what Ukraine needs. They need more guns, more missiles, send in the fighter jets, give Ukraine control over their own skies. Unfortunately, Joe Biden isn't a strong man, and right now his only move, more sanctions that aren't even meant to stop the war.
Sanctions never deter. The maintenance of sanctions, the increasing the pain, and the demonstration why I asked for this NATO meeting today is to be sure that after a month we will sustain what we're doing.
All right, well, joining me now, Bill O'Reilly, who has a new book out, May 3rd, called Killing the Killers, The Secret War Against Terrorists. Welcome, Bill. Let's start with that. I don't know, Biden says these sanctions aren't meant to deter, but specifically I remember Kamala Harris just right before the war started saying that their sanctions were meant to deter. It doesn't seem to be working. What are your thoughts on sanctions?
Well, I think they're working in a sense that the Russian economy is not going to come back anytime soon. And so now the Russian people are going to get restive, word of the day. And the Russian military is a possibility they might remove Putin, which is the only solution to the problem. He's got to go. It's a one-man war. He's doing it. But the Russian people don't want to do it. The Duma doesn't want to do it. It's him. And so he's got to be removed, and the only way you get him out of there is to have the Russian economy collapse, which it very well may in the next few months.
So Bill, I think there was the most substantial thing I think this White House has done happened yesterday when the State Department and I believe the Pentagon came out and said, yes, these are war crimes. Meaning, they didn't point the finger at Putin. They didn't say he's calling the shots on the war crimes, but they probably did put it in the heads of all those generals out there who are on the battlefield saying, hit that civilian, hit that apartment building, hit that maternity ward. They got to think, I'm going to be held for war crimes if I do this. I think you're right. I think the only way to stop this madman is by one of his generals or the military taking him out in a coup.
Well, I just removed the defense minister. He vanished. So nobody knows where he is. He's gone. And I think Putin had him removed because this is such an embarrassment now for Russia. The whole world knows that the Russian army is ineffective in Ukraine. So that doesn't do Putin any good, does it? So if Putin's thinking about going into Poland and Ukraine is fighting him to a draw, and now the NATO forces are moving battle groups and other weaponry to the eastern part of NATO. The main reason Putin said he invaded in the first place was because he didn't want military threats on his western front. Well, now he's got twice as many. So when next time you hear somebody say how smart Putin is, he maybe not that smart. Okay, so exactly what he didn't want has happened in spades, and he can't even beat Ukraine. So where is Putin now?
Yeah, he painted himself in a corner. Bill, I want to talk about something I saw you wrote yesterday. Hunter Biden is a piece you wrote on Hunter Biden. I think it was fascinating. I love the way you said the hunter has become the prey. You're calling for an independent counsel. Tell us what you know, what you think. I tell you what we know. We've been covering it for 18 months, and this is the first time the New York Times has even admitted there was a laptop.
All right, so I wrote a column on BillO'Reilly.com called "The Hunter Has Become the Prey," and there's a grand jury in Washington, and it is examining evidence that Hunter Biden committed a number of crimes. So the New York Times knows that, and they know there is a chance that Hunter Biden will get indicted. So it's out of the political realm now. It's into the folks, because regular people sit on the grand juries. And if Hunter Biden gets indicted for crimes, where's the New York Times when they say there wasn't a story to begin with? So they had to, 8-10 months after they buried the story, run, well, yeah, now we think it's okay, in the middle of the newspaper. They didn't put it on page one. There's no question New York Times is a corrupt entity, as well as the other corporate media in America. They are all corrupt. Americans are not getting the truth or the facts from Disney, Comcast, you name it. They're just not. So now it's a waiting game. But if you really want to know what Joe Biden did in all this, whether he is culpable, whether he took what I write in Killing the Mob, my book out now, did he get a taste of what Hunter Biden was generating millions of dollars from overseas company? Did some of that find its way to Joe Biden as a sitting vice president? If it did, that's a crime. You're never going to get the Biden Justice Department to investigate that ever in a million years. So you need an independent counsel. And that's not going to happen, of course, until Joe Biden himself gets out of the presidency. But, you know, if Hunter Biden's indicted, boy, that's a big one. That's a huge story.
Is it one? Well, so a couple of things here. Let's unpack it a little bit. Number one, the timing of the New York Times coming clean about, oh, yeah, guess what? We independently discovered the laptop, and it's real, and the contents are likely real. Do you think the timing that they decided to do this in the middle of a war between Russia and Ukraine and NATO is blowing up, and Biden is?
It's what I just told you. They know that there might be indictments coming down from a grand jury, so they can't be. They've got to get ahead of it by saying, oh, "Okay, don't blame us. Yeah, we buried it, but now we know it's real." That's why they did it. It had nothing to do with the war. They don't want, the New York Times and other media don't want to be in a position where when this indictment, if it does come, that they are then accused of ignoring a story of that magnitude.
All right. He's like my professor in college. He used to get mad at me if I wasn't there.
I'm going to mess up your hair, Bolling, if you continue to do that.
And it's real, and it's fabulous. Now let's see. How do we find out? Is there a thread that links the big guy that we know is in some of the emails on the laptop? The big guy to Biden, to Joe Biden, and Mr. 10%. Is it him? Hey, maybe it's Obama. I don't know. Could it be one of those two?
No, it's Obama's not in it. But if there is a trial, if Hunter Biden goes on trial, you're going to have witnesses. And Bobolinsky and all the business partners and everybody are going to come in under oath, and they're going to go, yeah, here's the deal. Here's what we did. So there's President Biden, and then 5 blocks away is a criminal proceeding against his son, where certainly his name is going to be bantered around. This is a disaster if it happens. Big if, because we don't know what the grand jury is going to do. I mean, Deshaun Watson, everybody thought in Houston that football player is going to be indicted by the grand jury. The grand jury did not indict. All right, so it's not a slam dunk that Hunter Biden's going to be indicted, but he certainly might be.
Yeah, and now Deshaun Watson's now going to be the quarterback for the Cleveland Browns, starting quarterback for the Cleveland Browns.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, Bill O'Reilly, always good talking to you, my friend. Don't forget, those killing books are amazing. Killing the Killers coming out May 3rd. Bill, always good having you on the show. Thanks for coming back, and thanks for yelling at me from my audience.
Appreciate it. Okay.
Talk to you soon.